The ZABAL Games Season 1 is in search of workshop leads. June is the prep month, a library of recorded sessions that gets a whole cohort of first to vibe coders ready before the ship a thing this July. If you have built something worth teaching, you have a session to give. Visit ZABALGames.com, that's ZABAL Games.com, and sign up. What is the ZABAL Games? 3 months, June, July, August. June is prep with ZAL teachers, vibe coding instructors run recorded sessions on tools, context, and the ecosystem. July is the open build-a-thon. Anyone with the vibe coding harness ships a build for the ZABAL ecosystem publicly. August is the finals, a cohort curated from July, each builder paired with a ZAL mentor for the main event, winner reveal.
Awesome. What's up, everybody? I am here live for another ZABAL Games workshop with Dan Singjoy. How are you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing great. Thanks, all. It's a pleasure to be here. And I love the ZABAL Games song and intro, too. Excited to jump into the session with you.
It's been a blast running these sessions. Definitely on the list for me for a long time has been having this conversation with you, because one of the ecosystems we've built on top of has been the Fractal ecosystem. So I'm excited to get started and chat more about fractals as a whole.
Sounds great. Me too. So I suppose I see you pulled up the Eden Fractal website here. So if you'd like, I can go through the Eden Fractal website and introduce myself.
Why don't you introduce yourself, share like how you came into the Fractal ecosystems, and then go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I am Dan Singjoy. I have a website at dansingjoy.com that has me up in the stars over here. And yeah, my journey is actually quite, in a way, like synchronous or perhaps serendipitous with the ZAL and the ZAL Fractal that you've been pioneering and leading over the past few years, because I'm a musician. I have on the bottom here a link to my YouTube channel, Dance Party, where for many years I did funny videos and also did music videos and did a lot of live streams where I was playing music and stuff like that. And then around 6 years ago, I transitioned more full-time towards building on-chain because I saw the potential for creators like myself and other creators around the world to find collaborators on-chain and to better coordinate, to make decisions and to create like amazing content together. And at the same time, I suppose just looking around the world and seeing ways that there could be better governance and better decision-making and better coordination and more independence and sovereignty and autonomy for creators, musicians, as well as entrepreneurs and people who work in all kinds of different industries and all throughout society. And so I still love to play music and still love to share music, but most of my focus these days is on fractal ecosystem, which leads me to Eden Fractal, I suppose. There's also more projects here on my website. A lot of these projects are kind of like projects I worked on over time. Actually, I had met ZAL. I'd met you at Optimism Fractal, which I started like 3 years ago or so, and then we paused it at the beginning of the year. And Optimism Fractal was basically kind of carrying forward what we were doing with Eden Fractal and Ethereum, and it was a great way to meet people. And there's still links to that website. And yeah, back about 4 years ago, I had created I had founded Eden Fractal, a community dedicated to optimizing collective decision making through collaborative research, development, education, gamification, community engagement. And about 5 years ago, I started Eden Creators, which is a media studio which produces videos and creates educational content about these fractal decision-making processes and better collective decision-making tools, and also community building kinds of tools that can empower creators and all people throughout society, really. And that's our goal, that's our mission, to improve decision-making and help all communities have the tools and methods to make the best decisions possible. So feel free to jump in if you want and guide me, but the website is...
Yeah, no, I love that. Shout out to Hadlan, who introduced me and was like, you should come to these things. And I joined, I think, around the 6th or 7th session of Optimism Fractal, which was really cool to watch that grow, form, and be an entity that, is in stasis right now, like Dan said, but that's because a lot of the same active members are still part of Eden Fractal, and that's where a lot of the energy is right now. So I think that's the conversation. But we Really leveled up in optimism over there. I'm still pretty firm on a couple different beliefs in EVM chains, and one of those is optimism's ability to like the stack of technology that's built over there. So we created our first token on the Optimism stack, using the similar model to what Optimism Fractal was doing, and being another community ecosystem under the Fractal ecosystem that Eden Fractal was trying to foster. So if you want to share anything about either of those two projects, I think it was a really cool opportunity for me to see a place to permissionlessly join in, create something of my own that was unique from my perspective, that could bring a different energy to the system, that could be what could be a different take on fractals, but also a way to empower more people to start thinking in this fractal way and how they can do this for themselves, right? And leverage this tooling for the illiquid soulbound tokens being governance and tied to governance based on weekly contributions shared through peer consensus. And I think that's the best like sentence I could say for what the fractal ecosystem is.
Yeah, that's well said and sounds great. And yeah, I'm hugely pleased and excited about what you're doing with South Fractal. And I love that you, I mean, it was a pleasure meeting you back 3 years ago, whatever it is. It's interesting with the Optimism Fractal, we recorded all the videos of all the events that we have. I think the first time that we met back on like Optimism Fractal meeting 5 or whatever it was when you first joined, that's all documented in the videos up there so people can see like the show notes and like that. And yeah, it's been amazing to see you thrive with the ZABAL Fractal, and congratulations on recently hosting your 100th ZABAL Fractal event. And I've met a lot of the ZABAL Fractal community members. They're amazing musicians, amazing creators, amazing builders there. So I'm really excited to see how you're carrying the torch on optimism, as well as helping to spread and help educate people and help pioneer and test out a lot of these fractal decision-making processes we're doing, such as the soulbound respect tokens and respect games and governance tools and so forth. And for anybody who wants to check out more about Optimism Fractal, right now it's paused, as we said before, but the website's still live and there's all the videos that are available. There's also an Optimism Town Hall that's linked here too. We did a bunch of videos discussing it. And yeah, this is just out there as an educational resource where people can learn more about Optimism Fractal. And like Zal said, we're mostly focused now on Eden Fractal, or at least I'm mostly focused on Eden Fractal and supporting the wider fractal ecosystem, which is basically ZABAL Fractal, and then there's many other community members and communities who have started to implement these processes. And with Eden Fractal, we're working to serve as a kind of a hub for the fractal ecosystem, where we're supporting communities like ZABAL Fractal and doing research and development and education, gamification, and engaging communities to help more communities benefit and more individuals benefit from what we call fractal decision-making processes, like the soulbound tokens and so forth.
I love it. Do you want to share a little bit more about Eden Fractal and like the website? It's similar to Optimism Fractal, where there's the videos at the top. Mm-hmm. And do you want to share what we've been talking about recently in Eden Fractal?
Yeah, sure. So maybe first I'll just give like a quick overview of Eden Fractal.
Yeah.
In addition, and then we dive into the videos. So yeah, we had started Eden Fractal back. We actually just celebrated the 4-year anniversary of Eden Fractal 2 days ago. It reached its 4-year anniversary on June 8th of 2026. Although the Eden community is actually about a year older, because it originally started with what we call the Genesis Eden community, or Eden on EOS, which is another blockchain which had pioneers a lot of these processes that inspired Eden Fractal. So basically myself and a community of people who have been interested in what we call fractal decision-making processes, or fractal governance, or fractal democracy, fractal coordination, whatever you want to call it. We've been collaborating for the past 5 years. Different people in the community, and then people have joined in along the way and taken leadership roles along the way and taking in different directions. So basically, we have a vision that all communities and organizations have the tools and methods to make the best possible decision-making, or best possible decisions together, and that all decisions should be fair, fast, and fun. And we're working to implement these fractal decision-making processes in society, as I said. And we have an article here which explains more about fractal decision-making processes. It's basically like kind of like how plants branch out in nature, kind of like in our background right now, and that allows them to grow more effectively. It's basically taking that kind of inspiration from nature and helping groups, communities, organizations to implement these kinds of fractal processes where people are going into smaller groups that are interactive, sharing their thoughts on a recurring schedule, and then playing a variety of different kinds of pro-social games to help like rank each other's contributions and give each other respect tokens, which are like these soul-bound non-transferable tokens that can be used for governance, and also electing delegates, and basically determining the best way and building the best way for communities to cooperate at scale, so that whether it's just a few people in a community and a few people, or maybe even one or two people who are really excited about an idea, and they can have a system where they can invite other people to this project or idea or communities that they're interested in, or it can also scale up to hundreds or thousands or millions of people and eventually really transform the way that society as a whole and organizations and communities around the world make decisions together and also collaborate. So at Eden Fractal, we have a specific way that we implement these fractal decision-making processes. There's an article here where you can learn a bunch of different ways and more details about that. But basically, we host bi-weekly community events that anybody's welcome to join. And there's two events that we host. One is called the Eden Fractal Respect Game. So we have an events calendar over here. It's hosted by Eden Creators. And so Eden Creators, as I mentioned, is a team that hosts the events and produces the videos for the Eden Fractal community and the wider Fractal ecosystem, and creates educational content. So on every other Thursday at 17 UTC, or I think it's 12 p.m. Eastern time, we have Eden Town Hall at 16 UTC and Eden Fractal Respect Game at 17 UTC. So basically the Eden Fractal Respect Game, the way that works, for people who are familiar with Zabal's work in the ZABAL Fractal, it'll be very familiar because the ZABAL Fractal does the same kind of thing. It's basically a game that it's also a revolutionary framework for community growth. Basically, the way it works is that we go into randomized regular groups of up to 6 people. Everybody shares their contribution to some common goal or common thing that people are trying to achieve. And then they will each speak for about 4 or 5 minutes and share what they contributed over the past week or two since they last met. And then they'll work to reach consensus on who helped the community the most, second most, third most, fourth most, fifth most, and so forth. And then based on that, if they can reach 2/3 consensus, then everybody will receive respect tokens in that group, and they'll receive more respect tokens if they receive a higher rank or level from their peers. And then those respect tokens go on chain as a soul-bound record or as a immutable record of how much each person's helped in the community. And over time, people, if they keep contributing, keep joining the events, then they earn more respect, and then that respect gives them more power in different kind of governance processes and so forth. So people who contribute more will get more influence and say in the community. And this is really the core of our community process, basically meeting to play this game every 2 weeks. And this is the way that we like kind of measure each other's contributions and just come together to have a good time while we're doing so. And this is something that any community can adopt to get all these different benefits and start playing and integrate into their organization to have those benefits. And then, like I said, there's those respect tokens you earn. We have an article about that. And then at Eden Fractal, we have several different kinds of processes that also support that too. We have an app that Tadas has built called OrDAO, where people can make proposals with their respect tokens to take on-chain actions. Like, for example, here you can see we recently elected a delegate, and I'll get to that in a moment. And we share our rankings of who participated in the game and how much respect they received. And that goes on chain to store who has respect and so forth. And the proposal system is using respect. So, and there's a nice, novel, elegant system so that it makes it very easy to approve proposals and simple, but it's weighted on how much respect people have. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, there's also a delegate system in Eden Fractal 2, where at the end of each respect game, we elect a delegate to help represent the community's will, basically. We have a couple of different governance systems. We call it a tripartite governance structure, kind of like, so the United States government, there's like the judicial, legislative, and executive branch, and they all work together and play different roles. We have a somewhat similar system at Eden Fractal, but with fractal governance processes. And so this is like a legislative process that we have, where at the town hall, which is the edentownhall.com, which is basically this. So maybe I should back up just a second and just say that we have these 2 events every 2 weeks, and the second one is to play the respect game, and we do that for about an hour or so, and we rank each of the contributions, and we receive respect tokens, and we elect a delegate. But then the first event, which is also an hour, is Eden Town Hall, where we have these open discussions about fractals, the fractal ecosystem, about respect games, about the ZAO Fractal. Actually, Zal recently shared a presentation about ZAO Fractal a couple weeks ago, which I have here and I can show in a moment. And the Eden Creators team produces both of these, so you can see the videos from Town Hall where we're discussing all these different kinds of things that we're developing and researching and exploring at the town hall. And this will be kind of like a place for open discussion. We've sometimes experimented with games where people can vote with respect tokens to determine the topics. So that's also another kind of fractal decision-making process. And then at these town halls, that's also where delegates can make decisions to help guide the community and to say, hey, here's what we think we should do. If we want to change the time of the meetings, or if we want to make any other kind of proposal to change something, we have that process. And basically the way that works is that at the end of each respect game, we have something called the Eden plus Fractal consensus process that we've been doing for the past few years, where we elect a delegate. Each breakout room elects a delegate basically to represent themselves in this process. And then over the course of 4 events, there's different councils. There's 4 different councils that form, and then a proposal will be said to be approved if 3 of those councils, people who are elected at the end of these respect games, decide on a certain decision during the town hall. So there's more details about all these things on the Eden Fractal website, and maybe we're getting a bit more into detail than needed for the top level, but that's kind of like how Eden Fractal currently operates and currently works to achieve our mission and vision. Basically, like, we're working to build software and do research that that helps provide better methods and better tools and better videos and better educational resources and all these things that will help communities implement respect games, implement respect tokens, implement these better decision-making processes that will help their community. So we use at Eden Fractal this bi-weekly event structure with the respect game and the Eden Town Hall, where we have open discussions and approve proposals as our way to stay in touch as a community. And we invite everybody who's interested in Fractal ecosystem, in Eden Fractal, in ZABAL Fractal, and in respect games to join the events and share their thoughts, share their contributions during the respect game. Even if they're new to the ecosystem, they're just learning about it. You know, it's very welcome for everybody to join and to share, introduce themselves, who they are. Everybody gets a chance to just have their voice heard, and everybody just joining is like a contribution itself, just learning about it. And then it's also kind of it's also basically a gathering place where a lot of the developers and community leaders and educators in the community come together so that they can share knowledge about the fractals and fractal ecosystem and help others basically implement these processes into their own community, and also work together as the Eden Fractal community to accomplish our mission and vision of helping all communities benefit from these processes. Does that make sense? That's kind of a lot there, and I imagine for somebody new, it might be maybe a little bit overwhelming, but hopefully it makes sense. And
no, I love it. I think it's really important to get those details in. And for anyone that wants more info, come join us on Thursdays, like Dan said, bi-weekly, going for 2 hours for the first hour for the town hall, which is a great place to come in and ask questions in the chat while the conversation's happening. And then also the Fractal game, the Eden Fractal game, the respect game, the second hour, where you can share and start to be a part of this ecosystem and earn those respect tokens. I think I wanted to tap in on one thing about the history. One cool thing that I loved that you guys did, the EOS tokens that people have earned are available to be claimed in a migrated form on base, where the current stack for Eden Fractal lives. So I wanted you to touch on a little bit of that and why you guys made that decision and how that decision was made, and then how that can be really powerful, as well as the ability to, as a group, reach consensus on, okay, like this, even though this is not on chain on this chain, we agree that this makes sense and is valuable to the community as a whole. So we need to make sure we reward those individuals.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for bringing it back. That's an important part of our history. And invite everyone to join, as all said, as well as ZABAL Fractal. Encourage people to check it out at 6 p.m. on Mondays, on Monday evenings. An awesome community, and just getting involved with the Fractal ecosystem. We love to see more people joining and learning about it and interacting. And yeah, so Eden Fractal, like I said, the Eden Fractal community started in 2021, and we have something that we've broken down into 2 epochs, basically. And our first epoch was our first 120 events. We have an article here, a retrospective on our 3 years. We actually, back just about a year ago, we transitioned to epoch 2 of Eden Fractal. And epoch 1 was entirely on the EOS blockchain, which was a very popular blockchain. It still exists, although it doesn't have the same momentum, and actually rebranded. But at that time, that's where the Eden community started. And actually, there's maybe even taking a step back further, The EOS community was started by an innovator who was named Dan Larimer, who had created several different blockchain projects, like the first decentralized social media platform Steam and decentralized exchange BitShares. And then he had written a book maybe 2 or 3 years after EOS launched called Moral Animals, which had this idea of improving the way that people make decisions, and it's called A Subtle Art of True Democracy. And there's an article about this on the Eden Fractal website, as well as the audiobook and free PDF for people who want to check it out. And this kind of had like the first ideas about how fractal democracy could work, and that really inspired myself and the Eden Fractal community to think about how this could work. And it kind of introduced the initial idea that people could gather together in these different groups and elect a leader. There's also some other people who have been thinking in similar lines too, and I've shared other content, but this is what inspired me and much of the Eden Fractal community to start building here. And a lot of people who were involved with the original Eden community were part of the EOS community because they were excited about what people were building. People like Dan Larimer were building in the EOS community. And the way it first started was something called Eden on EOS with upvote elections, which we sometimes called upvote elections, which didn't have the respect game. It only had a system where people could just meet and upvote one leader, and then there'd be another round, and then all the upvoted delegates would meet with each other, and then there'd be another round, and all of the upvoted delegates would meet with each other. And at the time, there was like $1 million that was distributed in funding here, and there was a whole bunch of people who joined. There's some really cool stuff here. There was an app that kind of predated all the Eden Fractal stuff. And then in 2022, we launched Eden Fractal. And when we launched, we were still on the EOS blockchain, and we had software built on the EOS blockchain, open source software from people in the community who were excited about Eden Fractal and EOS as well. And that was basically the first 3 years of Eden Fractal. We have this documented here, where it shows kind of like the early foundations, and then what we went through and all the things we did during those first few years. And yeah, we had somewhere here, there's a link to the Block Explorer where it shows there was about, I don't know, 80 people or so who participated in the first Eden Fractal events. And of course, these are all documented in the videos of Eden Fractal as well. And then at the end of Epoch 1, EOS was kind of like not, it didn't have the same kind of momentum that we had. And we had myself and other members of the team that had started Optimism Fractal, we called the Optimistics. We had built the software to run on EVM, whereas EOS had their own custom kind of smart contract infrastructure. And we wanted to be more compatible with the wider industry standard of building on the EVM, build with Ethereum and so forth, and build with more communities who didn't know about EOS. And so when we started Optimism Fractal, we created this software, and we created a couple different iterations. So eventually created the OrDAO app, which I showed before, which is really nice. We also have a video about this too, and an article here on the Optimistic site. I'm going to merge this into the Eden Fractal site at some point, because our educational resources are a little bit split up, but we have like a whole playlist and a nice little like introductory video to this OrDAO app and how it works here. But basically, we had this great app that worked with the EVM, and so Tadas, who is a lead developer for Eden Fractal and helped found Optimism Fractal and has played a really big role in this, he deployed this Eden Fractal OrDAO app for the Eden Fractal community, and we deployed it on Base, being that Base has a great ecosystem with lots of development and lots of momentum and so forth. And we decided to transition starting Epoch 2 as of last year, to start building on Base. We also did some other changes, like we started doing the town halls again, because we kind of taken a break from those and stuff. But yeah, basically, we had transitioned to Eden Fractal Epoch 2, but in doing so, we still wanted to remember, and we still do remember, and give the opportunity for everybody who participated in Eden Fractal Epoch 1 to have their respect from Eden Fractal Epoch 1 and be able to participate in Eden Fractal Epoch 2 and continue going in Eden Fractal Epoch 2. So Tadasa also set up this other OrDAO app where basically people could claim their respect from Eden Fractal Epoch 1. So for example, in Epoch 1, I earned 2,548 Eden, and then I hit claim, and then I was able to mint that onto Base. And that's one of the interesting things about fractal governance and fractals in general. Like, it's not really dependent on any one blockchain, so you can easily move the respect from one chain to another as long as the community comes to consensus. So we had approved a proposal to do this, and then everybody approved it, and we decided that we put up the site so that everybody can participate in Eden Fractal with their respect from both Epoch 1 and Epoch 2, and help in the decision-making process with the existing respect that they've earned. Does that answer your question?
Love it. No,
I know
this
I
is
kind of went a bit deeper in history there, but I figured maybe it'd be useful to provide a bit more context.
amazing. No, yeah. Keep on continuing down the links. I would love. I think we talked a lot about Ordao. One of
Mhm.
the only differences overall with the Zao fractal and the way Eden fractal and Optimism fractal work is that Eden fractal and Optimism fractal have about 2/3 consensus, where the
Mhm.
Zao has 51% consensus. So that's one of the big differences, I would say. And one of the other big differences, and this is something that I have to update here very shortly, and one of the repos I'm currently making, Zao Fractal, under the Zao Devs GitHub for people to check out, will be to create a new front end for actually submitting the respect, to get that up to our standard, and then submit that as a submission for TDAS to help hopefully update the ORDAO standard as well. And then the second thing is we have the way I wanted to do DAO decay was through increasing the amount of respect that was earned over time. So from our first year, we took the same amount of respect that was set up from the Eden Fractal and Optimism Fractal community, which they still use, which is at the bottom 5, next 8, and then 13, 21, 34, and then 55. And that in and of itself is a Fibonacci sequence, which is adding the previous numbers together, which gives you bigger differences at the top of the amount. If you're the top contributor versus the second contributor, there's a big difference in the amount of governance you'll get, 55 and 21. So 30 difference versus at the very bottom between 5 and 8. And that's a 3 difference in how much actual governance you're getting. So I really was interested in that, but I wanted to add decay by in our second year, making that times 2. So as you can see here, Dan is showing our most recent respect, which was 103, group number 1, and that's going to be 110. 68, 42, 26, 16, and 10. So one of the things I need to build in here now this year for year number 3 is respect breakout times 3. So that's one of the things that I'm going to build out for our third year here, so that it will be, plus the amount that I had said, before. So we're going to be trying to play around with different toolings and make more people active with being in the ZAO, but actively part of the proposals that they want to be a part of. So this being the governance side, but we also have a couple other avenues for creating proposals like social posts. I created a platform where with 1,000 ZAO respect, someone could create someone could curate a social post for the ZAO account. So, and it would be posted by them, right? It would say curated by XYZ person. And I think that can be a really powerful way to use respect as well. So this is like the underlying infrastructure of the ZAO and how the ZAO is going to create its incubator of people coming in and proposing projects through a system like this. This system here is specifically for distributing out respect weekly, right? And I think that's great, but we need to make sure splitting up the systems for different things is also there, so that we're using this governance for a different system, but someone that is using one and is a customer and a user for one isn't necessarily, they're able to interact with the other, but that isn't their flow. So that's one of the things I want to build into our ecosystem, what we're trying to build and see here. And I think there's a lot of cool ways that the ecosystem can flourish from a few more awesome developers, especially over on Farcaster. One of the things I want to build is asynchronous through casting and posting on the timeline, Fractal games as well. And one of the things I built through the last 103 weeks was a Discord bot that did the consensus mechanism, and I'm trying to automate that into being helpful for the ZAO overall, where we can essentially share whatever we want in the ZAO Discord and automate things through the Discord bot. And slowly we've gotten it to be better and better over time, and gotten it to a point where anyone at any time with a minimum of 4 people can participate in a ZAO Fractal and can reach consensus and can get points without me being there, or even anyone else other than one person who's been in a fractal before and knows how to do it. And the goal ultimately is maybe even a group of 6 that has never been in a fractal before to also be able to do it, which we aren't necessarily at that point yet, but I would consider us a lot more autonomous if there's one video that you can point to that's 1 minute, or a set of instructions with a Discord dash command that could get someone in a group of 6 people that had never played a fractal before, but were participating in the general ecosystem to participate and share. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking. One of the things we had built in that I'm still kind of figuring out, I think I'm going to make a proposal to get rid of it and implement a new thing for it, was that people, when they come into the fractal for their first time, would automatically get level 6 respect and be taken out of the pool. So we'd still be voting on level 6 and continuing there, but they would essentially, for being there and being there first week, get 110 respect. And that would give them enough to be able to participate in the ZAO for that next week. And the goal being they watch the voting and can participate in voting, but aren't a voted person for that first week. So they can feel it out, understand, and come back the next week ready to go. But I think I'm going to remove that for a dash introductions. So you can do dash introduction in the ZAO at any point with any user and get their introduction from the introductions channel. So I think that in and of itself, it was previously 15 or 10 points. We're going to make that the whomever has already received respect at that level will get it for that introduction and be upgraded. But anyone who is coming in will get that. And then when they come in and participate in their first fractal, they'll be expected to have potentially watched a fractal video before, or have watched through the basic resources that are necessary to participate fully in the fractal during that period of time, which we try and make 30 minutes. So we meet at 6 o'clock for chit chat for the first 15 minutes. We start at 6:15, and from 6:15 to the goal being 6:45, we share and reach consensus and then push that. And as Dan's showing some of the different parts of the things that I showed that during my presentation, which you can definitely check out.
Yeah, that's right. So I was kind of just skipping around a little bit from this video that you gave a presentation about ZAO Fractal. This is a great video that came on the Eden Creators YouTube channel about a few days ago. I'm not even sure it's totally uploaded yet, but it'll be there shortly if it's not. And where you gave an overview of the ZAO Fractal bot that you built that I was showing on screen that allows people to play the Reset game in Discord, and that you use to play the Reset game and coordinate ZAO Fractals on Mondays. And then also you gave an overview about some of the other things that you have built, like, for example, the OrDAO application, ZAO.Fractal.xyz, and your, I suppose, original way of keeping the respect scores. And then also I remember that about 3 months ago, you also gave like a much deeper dive into the ZAO Fractal Discord bot as well too. So that is also in like Eden Tunnel like 72. So we have a lot of really good content to show your work. And yeah, I love to see all the stuff that you've been building with the ZAO Fractal and building with these respect tools. And I've also checked out some of the other tools that you've built and stuff that allow people to interact with the respect tokens in different ways. And I love to see it. Pretty much all the software that we built here in the Eden Fractal community is open source. And so people can fork it and use in different ways. And it provides a lot of primitives. Like, for example, the respect tokens, we have on the article some ways that you can use it. I think this is actually kind of an old article. It's about Optimism Fractal, but it talks about how you can use respect for decentralized governance, impact evaluation, and distributing funding, allocating roles, coordinating discussions.
Oh, that's another
different kinds of games.
Hacked protocol just recently became open source. The
Yes.
Haberdashery Labs taking a step down, and I wanted to create a very basic mini app for people to claim a ZAO hat. And I think that'd be a cool primitive to create as well. And that would start the creating on Farcaster the ability for people to participate in the ZAO Fractal ecosystem by sharing automatically, potentially, their last week's contributions to the ecosystem. If they cast about it, essentially, we can set it up that way. and then voting on Monday morning, everyone getting a list of people to vote on, and then going down the list from there, similar to the Fractal Circles ecosystem that someone was creating. And I think there could be a really great asynchronous process there of getting a lot of people involved and being able to actually have that scale as well, to really value contributions and be able to now learn from other people's contributions as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I like to see what the Haberdasher Labs team built over the years. It's really great, the open source software for HATS protocol. And yeah, I see a lot of great integrations with the Fractal ecosystem and respect tokens. And I love to see the ways that you're thinking about building it, as well as building these integrations. And yeah, so far what we've covered is kind of like the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that can be built or is in the works for building these things and building out apps that make it easier for people to implement these kinds of systems into their own communities, and can really get creative and use respect and these different kinds of processes in whatever way that their community thinks is most useful, and making it easy for people to adopt it and have fun, and spread joy, while also becoming more productive at coordinating to achieve whatever their collective goals are. So yeah, I'm really excited to see the things that you build, and I look forward to hearing your updates in the Eden Fractal community as well as the Fractal community, and collaborating with you to build these things out, as well as collaborating with other developers and builders and community leaders and creators in the Fractal ecosystem as well.
I love it.
Yep, me too.
Do you have anything else you want to kind of touch on and share about the future of Eden Fractal, some of the other tools we've built? I think one of the ones that I just recently saw, if you want to go back to that page of what tools things you can do with respect, was discussing about having conversation. I think one of the things that we've done at the town halls is use respect as a way for people to put up proposals for what people should talk about. So I'd love it if you could tap in and touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is kind of spread out across a few different places. So for example, the Optimistic site has an article, I believe, about Kagendas, because we did the same thing at Optimism Town Hall, which was basically the same kind of discussion forum as Eden Town Hall for the Optimism Vector community. And there's an article here where we showed how it worked. Basically, like, there's a simple rules where people could vote in a snapshot space and propose topics during a certain time frame, like maybe in a week before the event or something like that. And then we had a few different iterations of games where basically, like, the topics that got more votes would be prioritized in the agenda for the upcoming event. So it's a great way to prioritize topics, see what the community really wants to discuss, as opposed to, say, just one person who's hosting the event or providing the agenda and saying, hey, here's what I want to discuss. You have a system where the community can democratically choose the topic based on how much reputation they have in the community, based on how much respect they have. So for example, we have the Optimum Town Hall snapshot space here where we had created these and then voted on them. There's also the Eden Fractal snapshot space, which we've used more recently. So Toss had also created this game that we had played for the first half of 2026 called Synchronous Respect Trees. And there's this whole kind of new, different kind of tool where people can vote on different aspects of either contribution requests or topics or all sorts of different things with their respect, and do like weighted polls. So for example, you can see here, this was us choosing topics, and we had 6-7 topics on the agenda. We talked about the Eden Fractal Spring Break, Eden Post-Fractal Improvements, Eden Fractal Intent Document, Community Agreement, the Matrix open source software, and recognizing prior contributions. And then each person had the opportunity in the Telegram group to like propose different topics that they were interested in discussing. And then they voted with their respect tokens in all these different topics. And then actually towards the end of this kind of experiment, we did probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 events like this at the beginning of the year, as well as some other ones where we kind of did this every time before the town hall. Tadas created this this cumulative report where it showed how much respect everybody or each of these topics had received. So in this game, we voted on both topic proposals as well as contribution requests. And so contribution requests were like, what do we want other people in the community to contribute to? We're requesting other people to contribute to certain things. So we had things that people wanted to prioritize here. And then we had topics for the town hall. And Tadas came with like a little simple formula here that kind of, you can see the different events, 133, 134, 135, 136. Right now, Eden Fractal's on its 1 43rd event we're about to go up to. So this was early this year. And yeah, he had a system
Is this
where
something I can implement in the ZAL Fractal easily?
I think so. I mean, Tadas has these repositories where he has all the open source software that he's been building, and he builds, I think, everything open source. And I don't know if there's a GitHub link here. I think you might have shared a link on GitHub to how this
We'll have to look
works.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can ask Tadas, but I'm pretty sure that he has a script or something that created
Okay.
this, and you could probably code
Yeah,
it up
because I
with
have an
the AI
idea
agent too.
for this exactly, because I wanted to. My goal for the ZABAL games during the month of July for the open build is to code a bunch and just like free code and get people inspired about different projects. So each day, kind of jumping to a different part of the ZAO and building on top of that. And I think it'd be really fun to give people the opportunity to have a lever point of being able to be like, I would be excited to see this. So.
Okay, well, yeah, sounds great.
That's one of the things I've built out in a different capacity. So it'd be really cool to see what Tadas has built here. So I'll look into that. I would love to add all the links here that you've been sharing at the bottom of the YouTube description. Make sure we can get that in for anyone who wants to check that out. I think anyone should, if they're interested, come in and join Eden Fractal. Come in, see what it's about, ask where you can help out, and it'd be a blast to have you. I think the more people we can get thinking about fractals and the fractal ecosystem, the better. Everyone's contributing super cool things. So I'm really excited to see where we can go with all this.
Yep. Me too, absolutely as well. And yeah, look forward to collaborating with you as well as everybody who is interested in join the events. Check it out. Like I said, there's the Eden Creators events calendar, which is at luma.com/Eden Creators, where you can register for the events. You can just go on there and then just click like register, and then get email reminders there. We also have a Telegram group that anybody can jump in, t.me/Eden Fractal, where you can ask questions and share thoughts. And we have all these videos like the growth of ZAO Fractal from the town hall and the Eden Fractal videos on the Eden Creators YouTube channel. So if people just want to check out what we're doing and check out like the recordings of all the events, then you can. So all these events are recorded, like I said, and you can just see what the events are about and see how the Respect game works are there, as well as our discussions at the town hall. Those are all there with timestamps as an educational resource, as well as just exploring edenfractal.com to learn more. Like check out the blog and the videos and the events and stuff. From there, you can find basically all the most important links. And would love to collaborate with more people going forward with the Eden Fractal and Fractal ecosystem. And yeah, look forward to meeting people and really excited about the future. We'll build together, both at the ZAO Fractal, which ZAO.com, and ZAO knows all the links and stuff, as well as Eden Fractal and the wider Fractal ecosystem. And really excited to see how everybody's can both join these communities and get value from them, as well as apply these tools and things that we're building, and also help build them, if you're interested in doing so, to integrate them into whatever kinds of communities and organizations that everybody in the audience, somebody out there might be interested in or already collaborating with, so that we can grow this whole movement, help everybody benefit from Respect games and Fractal decision-making processes.
I love it, Dan. Thank you. Last question is going to be, how are you doing this? What browser are you using to make this amazing presentation where you can just click through these links pretty seamlessly? Let's talk a little bit about that, because as we're talking about it, I have this idea where with the tooling here, maybe if we made like a Fractal browser that could be preset up for an individual, or a ZABAL browser for the ZABAL games that could be preset up for an individual to just jump right in and go into flow, it could be really cool. So yeah, share a little bit about what you're using.
Yep, I agree. So I'm currently using Arc browser. You can see that at, I think it's arc.net, ARC. I've been using this browser for the past couple of years. I really like how, as you can see on the screen, it has this all of these tabs on the left side. I've noticed that Safari and Chrome are also doing similar stuff too. So I think that a lot of it you can get with other browsers now. And Arc, I don't know if I'd recommend using it now, because the company that was creating it kind of stopped, and they're kind of focusing on another browser now, which I'm not as familiar with. I haven't tried it yet, but I've been using it for the past couple of years, and it works well. And then over the past 6 months, 3 months, so forth, I've learned about Zen browser, which is basically what I'd probably recommend checking out now, because it's an open source alternative, which does basically what Arc does. It has most of the same functionality. It's a little maybe rough around the edges in some places because it's relatively new, but it's all open source. And it's actually a very popular and growing fast open source project that has the same kind of system. But this is actively developed by a community, mostly volunteers, I think. I don't know if there's a company behind it. And yeah, it's open source. So that kind of thing, like building a Fractal browser or building some sort of preset collection of tabs and folders. There's also other functionalities that I haven't shown here, but like, for example, you can like create a folder and like, group them together and stuff like that. So you could have like a folder for like a browser tool or something like that, and then learn about that and then share that with different community members. So I find this is helpful for giving presentations. As I host the Fractal events, I usually give a little presentation at the beginning of the event to welcome people and share, some introductory information. And it's useful for that, as well as I just do a lot of my work and research in these kinds of browsers too, because I find them to be very useful. So I'd recommend for anybody who's interested, check out Zen Browser, and just you can learn how to use it at the website. That's at zen-browser.app. And then there's different tools too, like there's workspaces at the bottom here where you can like switch between different workspaces and organize your work pretty well as you'd like to. And also Zen Browser has some nice privacy features too, which is a nice addition too, because it's based on Firefox. So yeah, I recommend checking that out. And then at some point, I actually have done some chats with Claude about making like a Fractal browser before.
I'll
so I have
do
like
that.
some. Okay, cool.
Send me your ask you to give you an overview and send it over to me, and I'll start building it. I love the idea because like I will build it for our Fractal, and it'll be open source, so we can just pop in a different ERC20 token, and boom, Bob's your uncle, right? And it's token gated, so no one could use it without it, right? Could be really cool, or people can use it without it, but it has extra functionality, right? That's what I've always loved some of these ideas for, is like creating a gated internet for your community where like everything is public still, but you have like that extra section in the back end of the website to play around in. So
yeah, I remember a couple months ago you said something about how like you'll have all your friends and family maybe will have ZABAL Respect at some point, and then you can just like hanging out with people who have ZABAL Respect because you know who they are, you trust them, and they can have extra capabilities to work within your life and your ecosystem. They can work with extra tools. So I love to see that. And yeah, I'll follow up and I'll share that. I think I have like a document already, maybe about like a summary about it. So I'll share that with you, and then we can get started on building a Fractal browser that people in the ZABAL community can use, and maybe at the Eden Fractal community, other communities too, so that everybody can enjoy good browsing as well as integrate Respect and have educational resources and stuff, so more people can learn about the Fractal ecosystem from there.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Dan. Is there any last things you want to share? Where can people reach out to you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, thanks again so much, Zal, for having me. It's been great. Excited to see everything you do with Fractal and the ZABAL Games. It was also a pleasure hearing your presentation back at the Eden Town Hall too. So I recommend people check out Eden Care's YouTube channel, and also especially that newest video is published, The Growth of Fractal. So check that out, and you can like and subscribe to follow along. You can learn more about me at dansingjoy.com, and at the bottom there's like links to X and YouTube and stuff like that. Feel free to get in touch. And then edenfractal.com is where you can learn about the Eden Fractal community, and from there you can click the events page to go to the Eden Creators events calendar and find the Telegram group and stuff in the contact corner and stuff like that. So look forward to hearing from everybody, and thanks again, Zal, and looking forward to our next steps.